Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Welcome. Wholesale Hotline number 81 on Labor Day. You know what I'm excited about, guys? I am excited to see if this is kind of like a lot of people are out and about. They're on vacation. They're going to watch us later. It's going to be kind of a smaller, more intimate group. And we could really get in on some questions, really deep dive on the topic of the day, which is getting massive deals, getting big profits on your deals and locking that up. And I think that comes down to, certain ingredients that really add to getting a massive deal. One being obviously your ability to negotiate with the seller, but also the amount of buyers that you have in your database, the amount of people that you're selling to and their strategies for those deals that you're putting out there. So I'm excited. Guys. How are you guys? Pace, Jamil, talk to me.
What's going on, Pacer?
Life is perfect.
Where you look like you're in a different room. What'd you do to your studio?
I just, been working on it today. I took Labor Day off and I labored on my other labors. It was great. Just kind of dialed in the studio, added a little bit to it. I was on Bigger Pockets last week, which was pretty cool.
Tell us about it.
It was great. Those guys are great. I mean, they've done 527 episodes, which, it's kind of like when we put Wholesale Hotline together, we were talking about like, we need to go that same direction. Like we need to provide so much value, so consistent for such a long period of time in order for us to change the game. And it was just a good inspiration to be with those guys and talking to them about what they're up to and all that kind of stuff. It was cool. I did get asked to come back to do a series on like scary things like due on sale clause and stuff like that for their pro members. So I'll be on Bigger Pockets multiple times in the future, which will be a lot of fun. Awesome. But I'm pumped. I was really excited about today's topic and hanging out with you two guys today. Jamil, how's your new house treating you?
It's very lively here. I moved into a house with about 300 other people. It's good. I'm at for those of you that see that I'm in a different location. My wife's got COVID, so being the sweetheart she is, she said move out. So I did. I moved out into a hotel down the street. We FaceTime each other, and I have Amazon deliveries dropped off outside her door to take care of her. This virtual new world we have, we basically can hang out and do everything we need to do just on our screen. So it's cool. She's good though. She's getting better. Prayers and good positive thoughts for her. But yeah, enjoying just a different environment.
That's a good point. Talking about being able to do everything on your phone, right? All these deals that we get to do. And the other thing is like Brent opened it up with for us. Brent, you are probably one of the wholesalers I know that have taken their wholesale fees from kind of the average. I'd say the average wholesale fee in nationwide is between $10,000 and maybe $18,000, depending on where you're at. Yeah. But you're well above that, right? So I'm excited to talk about how you're doing that. And I'm also excited about talking about how you can do this anywhere. Brent, what would you say is the number one thing that you guys have done in the last couple of years to take your wholesale profits up another $10,000-$15,000 than where they were 3-4 years ago?
Listen, it's just following Jamil. It's just following Jamil on building a incredible cash buyer database, keeping really engaged with them, right? Getting rid of the looky-loos, getting rid of the people that aren't really coming around, aren't really responding to any of our marketing, having conversations with certain buyers, letting them, understanding where they want to buy and what they're looking for, and just really just negotiating really well. And that just
So you're
starts.
saying a lot of that came down to just having a better buyer's list.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it does, and for a while we sold to the same 3 or 4 people, and that was cool. It was smooth, but I went from, an average of 12,000 to then 28,000 to now 42,000. And part of that's part of the market. Let's be honest. Part of that's people are just paying, really, really aggressive prices right now. Pretty much everywhere, but especially here in Phoenix. So that's really helped out as well. And we just do a really good job of making sure that the people that we work with are legit and they close the deals. So I think a lot of times, you clog up, you kind of pour molasses on your business if you're not working with people that are actually going to close the deals, people that you know and trust, and the title companies, they're communicating with them, they're working with them, and they do a really good job of making sure that all of their ducks are in a row so that it closes smooth. Because if you're looking behind all the time, hoping that things get closed all the time, it slows you down. If you're looking behind, it's always going to slow you down. So having people that are really, really, really solid and have great reputations. We sell a lot to Keegley. We sell a lot to a couple other buyers in town that do a really good job. And we sell properties through a lot of real estate agents that we know and have built relationships through. And that's been absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I think.
Why do you think that?
Go ahead.
Why do you think that in the very beginning you were, selling everything to just 3 or 4 buyers? Was it because you were focused on the acquisition side of things, or what do you think was holding you in that world?
100%. Yeah. I was so focused on the hunting side of it that I really wasn't building up the cash buyer database. And at the time, Dustin and I kind of split roles, and his job was selling the deals. My job was finding the deals, and he was building really great relationships with these people. But we found out later that we could get a lot more out of every single deal. And once you build that up, listen, you build a foundation, you have some success, you get some income coming in, and then you start expanding and expanding. So once we got to the ability to really start scraping through the buyers, really seeing who's closing deals, really adopting the buyers after the transaction, once we sell them, it was really, it helped us build. And then from there, we get into the mastermind, the Go Giver mastermind. And exchanged, buyer bases with somebody like Jared Vidalis and some of these other guys. And it was all of a sudden it exploded. And now we went from like 80 to 800 to 8,000 buyers within a 90-day period. And it changed everything.
So working with buyers, obviously you've got to come up with the price and you've got to do all that kind of stuff in order to start marketing it.
Yes.
I know I have a different method to my madness than you, I believe, Brent, but I spend a lot of my time verifying with Keegley on stuff.
Okay.
But with you, it looks like Stock Evo X. I wonder if his mom named him that and she's a shoe reseller or something like that. I don't know, but that's, would love to know your real name, Stock Evo X. So he says, Brent, explain your 84 cents minus repair cost minus wholesale fee equals maximum allowable offer. Will you explain
the
that?
Great Mayo debate, because I completely disagree with this. So I'd love to hear your explanation, Brent, and then let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, let's make sure we're pointed in the right direction. So we're talking direct to seller, right? We're not talking about joint venturing.
Yeah, well, I guess there's that concept that they would be different, but in my opinion, I think even in direct to seller in the competitive markets that we're in today, when you have a term maximum allowable offer and the equation has 2 very subjective variables in it, how can it possibly be a maximum allowable offer?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's one estimate in there, and then there's one that you bake in, Jamil. So if you're looking at that, if you're looking at the estimated cost to repair, I base it off of just looking at general cost based on the size of the property and the condition it's in.
Yep.
Do we have the repair cost thingy? There we go. So this is what I look at. If it's under 10,000, so I break it down in three ways. Is it easy? Is this carpet and paint? Is this something that needs work? It needs some renovation. It needs appliances. It needs fixtures. It needs flooring. Or wow, is this bad? So I look at that, and those are the numbers that I plug into that calculation there. So is it arbitrary? Absolutely. Will that vary property to property? Absolutely. But this gives a good baseline where to go. And then from there, if it is properties that are really expensive, we're going to add 20% to those costs.
Yep.
So that you've got a good buffer for all of the extras that those properties need, some of the extra upgrades that those property needs. So then that's the number that I plug in there, Jamil. So is it arbitrary? Absolutely. That's just based on experience on, is it an easy remodel?
I think you're right on the money with your repair estimates there. The thing is different contractors will have different estimates. And I feel when I'm putting a certain value on a repair, I'm assuming that we're getting a deep discount, right? Or I'm assuming that my guys are doing it. But there's some people that are out there that will do a sweat equity deal, and we're talking about buyers and maximizing your assignment fee. But I think you're totally on the money with the repair estimates. The more subjective variable in there, which is wholesale fee, yes. I think that's the one where a lot of wholesalers unravel because they see checks of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 home runs on the internet getting posted on Facebook and shared on social media. And then they plug a number like that into that MAO formula. And all of a sudden they're poo-pooing really possible sellers. They're poo-pooing those conversations because they're coming in too low. And I personally, I think that there's got to be more of a systemization there to be able to give. Look, the term is maximum. Maximum is the first word. What's the maximum we can pay? If we put in a subjective variable in there and somebody puts in $50,000, but the deal could have got done at $15,000, was it really maximum?
Yeah, I went in. So anytime that I talk about putting in a wholesale fee, Jamil, I talk about properties above 150,000 and below 150,000. If it's below 150,000, typically you're going to get anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. If it's above, it's going to be 10 to 15. So what I always suggest to push the values here is if it's around or under 150, put in 10,000 into that wholesale fee.
Right. Then our number works out to the exact same thing in that.
And by the way, Jamil, this is what I've been teaching for 4 years. So hold on. So will you pull up this thing? It's really sloppy here. I go, if the property is 250,000 or above.
Hey, what font is that? Can I find that in like Microsoft Paint or anything? Like,
isn't that good?
It's so good.
This is an Apple Pencil, man. I'm just getting used to it. I don't know. If it's below 250, I say throw out 50%. And if it's below 100,000, throw out 25% as just a shot across the bow. So I think getting into the nitty gritty there, I think a couple of those numbers with the 0.84, that is 16% off the top, 10% for profit for the investor or equity for the investor if they want to hold it. 6% for closing costs, whether that be title and escrow fees or closing attorney fees or selling it with a real estate agent on the back end. And then from there, I subtract the repairs, subtract the wholesale fee, and come up with an offer price that will work. And by the way, Jamil, after all that, it usually comes out to 66%, 50%, or 25%. But it's just, some of those properties that need a lot more repairs, I just don't want to like broad stroke it.
Jamil, don't reply yet. Don't reply yet because I got two things for you. I'm going to have you answer this question in just a second from Sean Bolden, but I want to answer Seth Redman. He says, dropping so much knowledge for free and only 30 viewers. Insane. So Seth, here's the thing. Everybody has moved over to YouTube because it's a little bit more interactive. It's a little bit more stable. And so we actually have nearly 300 live viewers. By the end of the show, we'll have close to 400 live viewers today. And when we look at the analytics, we'll end up having about 1,500 people check in and check out of the show during its 1.5 hour duration. Facebook is one. We only really have one place we're streaming on Facebook at this point, and it's my Creative Finance Facebook group. If you're over there, heaven bless you. You are missing out on so much collaboration in the YouTube comments. So go over to YouTube, whether it's Brent's YouTube, my YouTube, or Jamil's YouTube. Go over to YouTube. It's a little bit easier to collaborate with people, and you can go back and re-watch these episodes on YouTube. Whereas on Facebook, it's a little bit more challenging to go back and watch previous episodes. So definitely have a lot more viewers, but you're on a Facebook group that we kind of wish everybody, I need to pull you out of that Facebook group and get you on YouTube. So guys, if you are on Facebook, please come over to YouTube, Brent, Jamil, or my own. Now, Jamil, I want you to reply to Brent because that was a really good interchange. And then I also want you to answer this question on the screen.
Oh, what's Keegly? It's a breakfast that wholesalers eat every morning that allows them to get maximum traction with their deals.
Maximum traction.
Sean Keegly is my company and 3 other beautiful business partners of mine, and we are a dispositions house. So if you are in a specific market in the United States doing wholesale deals and you need help finding a buyer for your deals, much to the conversation that Brent was having earlier with respect to maximizing your fees by getting to and in front of more buyers, better buyers, greater relationships who might be able to pay more money, then you definitely want to check us out. And if we're in your local area, we'd be happy to help you. So Brent, can you pull up those ratios again, the 66, the 50, and the 25? Is that what it was? And that's
clean them up a little bit.
66% of ARV, 50% of ARV, and then 25% of ARV?
Yep.
Awesome. So ultimately, Brent, our numbers, you and I do math very, very similar. Here's the way that I calculate my maximum allowable offers. I look at the kind of market it is. So I see, a market like Phoenix, Arizona, or a market like, Riverside, California, or, anywhere that's hot, to Dallas, Texas. You're going to be typically at about 75%, 72 to 75% of ARV. And you can absolutely still make $10,000 on top of that. And that will actually work. That number will work. You're very likely to be able to sell that deal. And that's based on a cosmetic remodel. Now, if you have a full gut remodel or there's something chocolatey in the house, then I'd reduce that 20% to 50% of ARV. So just like you were at there as well. If you're in a low demand, low appreciation market, like somewhere in Indiana, say, Indianapolis, Indiana, for a cosmetic remodel, I go in at 50% of ARV. And if it's a full gut remodel, I go in at 30% of ARV. So the numbers, guys, they work out very similar to each other. And what I don't want to have you all do is get so caught up on that wholesale fee variable, because, guys, the majority of your deals aren't going to be 50, 60. Chocolatey just means it's got some.
That was my question. I highlighted on the screen.
It's got some poo-poo in it. You know what I mean? It's got like a foundation crack, or you might have a little bit of fire damage, or all of the houses that we renovated on our show, Pace, they all had a little bit of chocolate.
I know. I hear you say it all the time. I just wanted to make sure that nobody in the audience missed out on that.
So guys, I want you to be very, very, very clear in your understanding here. Brent and I don't actually diverge from each other at all on our valuation here. In fact, we're very much in line. The key is be realistic on what that wholesale fee is so that you get more offers accepted. I can't tell you how many folks are having conversations with people out there plugging in a $50,000 assignment fee and just, completely ruining a conversation with a seller because they're not coming in with a number that's on this planet. So guys, just keep that stuff in mind. And look to say, if that doesn't mean you can't get big wholesale fees. Big wholesale fees are going to come from solving pain, being creative, and solving and having better buyers, solving your buyer problem. But It shouldn't be from just arbitrarily plugging in a $50,000 assignment fee into your offer.
No, that's a recipe for that's like I get texts in from Dallas, from California, from Seattle. Hey, I heard you have to go 70% minus repairs, and that's what and then build in my assignment fee, and then that's the offer I can have. And I say, you go with that, you're going to get beaten like a drum. You are going to lose out on so many deals. You're going to lose out on so many deals. So it's just, I mean, listen, I'll take $1,000 on a deal. I don't care. Like if I could solve the problem of the homeowner, but the biggest deals here is the absolute truth, and why this matters, but it really doesn't matter, because the absolute truth is the biggest, best deals you will get is when the seller gives you the price first. I am telling you, when a seller goes, I will, if you give me $150,000, I will sell it to you tomorrow. And you look that thing up on Zillow real quick, watching Jamil's comping show, and you're like, holy shit, this thing is like, or Batch Leads, and you're looking at this thing and it's showing that it's 330. That's when the magic happens. That's when every single big deal, 92,000, 112, 108, 132, and 3 over 50,000 this year from our business. Every single one of them gave us a price first. Every single one.
Wow.
So it's not just your ability to negotiate. It is your ability to talk to enough people where you get these big opportunities. That's what really happens. That's what is... That's how you find these big deals, is when you can match what their expectations are, what they want, with a smoking hot price. It's that old adage that Dolph DeRoos taught us, back in 1998 or whatever, that the deal of a lifetime comes around about once a week. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely true. So, I mean, it's here. I think it's here that we think this is where it all starts in getting big, massive deals and being comfortable with it. Because I'm telling you, the first time I did a deal over 40,000, 42,000, Jamil Pace, I was shaking like a leaf. I was like, Aaron was in the kitchen. I was shaking. I was feeling very nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, am I worth this amount of money? How do I do it? Can I do this again? Is this the pinnacle of my career? All of these things go through you. It breaks your brain for about 30 seconds. And then I popped right out and start getting massive deals.
That's such an interesting question that we all go through, of like, can I do this? And then also I heard something from you about 6 months ago, and you said, once I figured out the mindset part of this business and I realized that now I understand a tool that I can make money no matter what's going on, no matter where I am in the world, I have gained all the confidence. You have the confidence of like Michael Jordan in Game 6 with 10 seconds left. Like, you can hit that buzzer beater because you understand how to wholesale real estate, which is so empowering. But it's funny. It's so funny to look back to when you got that first $42,000 check and you asked yourself, is this the last time this is ever going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I agree with you, Jamil. I mean, you look at the 484 times minus the repairs, minus the wholesale fee, and it just depends on what the expectation. If you just look at it on paper, it looks ridiculous. If you start plugging in certain parts, I don't think that tells the whole story. You got to have an estimated repair sheet, and you need to know what is your minimum standard for deals. And if your minimum standard's 50,000, that's cool, but you're not going to do a lot of deals. If your minimum standard's 10 and you're crushing that, and you run across these deals, which you should every 90 days that are big, massive deals, if you're being consistent, you go 10, 12, 13 and a half, 14, 7, 63. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's it. So when you're so give us the juxtaposition, Jamil. When you guys are throwing out, when somebody comes to Keegley and they're like, I need a buy number, what's the process that you guys go through?
Well, it depends on what where the deal is, and if they're dealing with a corporate store, and if they're dealing with a franchise, it's going to be different all around. I'm seeing some questions in the chat there where people are working with different Keegley offices, and they're going to be a little bit different. They'll have different manpower and different lists and whatnot. But whatever. The process on our end at the corporate store, on a corporate level, is somebody will reach out to a rep, and we'll look at the house. We'll see if we got pictures of it, and we'll ask them if they want us to A, be a committed buyer, or B, if it's a situation where they'd like to JV with us, right? So if they want a committed buyer, and that's just secure for you, if you just want to make sure that you're going to get hard earnest money and a definite closing, whether or not we can sell the deal. And Brent, you've experienced that with me for years.
Yeah.
If I commit to a deal with you, the deal's going to close, right? And so
100%.
And so that's the two different types of processes. So if we commit to a deal, there's a number, and if it's a JV, then we're going to try to really stretch it as far as possible, right? We're going to try to sell that thing as high as possible, and in that scenario, though, you don't have a committed buyer.
Got it. And then is there numbers that, like, when you're comping, I mean, obviously, listen, anything that Jamil says about comping, I mean, this is the master comper. I mean, he's basically like could teach an appraisal class on it. So we've got a lot of that, even with my own team, even with myself. I mean, I've been doing it for years, but I love the way that you look at it. You understand that fast how to look at that comp. How do you backpedal? Is there percentages that you're using per, because you were saying that, like, in California or something, it's like 75%, and then in other areas, it's just market to market.
Market to market. So I created a whole ARV map of the United States that I give to my astro flipping students, and that gives them an understanding of where they need to be wherever they are in the country in terms of price.
Got it.
Can I address this real quick? Chris James says, so my wife thinks you guys are selling a program. Explain your position, please, while she's sitting here next to me listening. FYI, I am a wholesaler and have done a handful of deals, but she thinks I'm buying something from you. I think what is going on right there is I think his wife believes we're like doing a webinar or something right now. Hey, Chris's wife, this is a free podcast. We do every single week, every Monday at the exact same time. We have a topic that we talk about for an hour and a half. It's free on YouTube. In fact, it's on Jamil's YouTube, Brent's YouTube, my YouTube. It's in a couple of different Facebook groups. Even though if you're in the Facebook groups, please come out, join us on YouTube. It's a lot cooler over here on YouTube, a lot more people to squat up with. And not only are we doing this podcast for free, but we also encourage people to squat up in the comments and become friends with each other. I get every single week a DM from people saying they did a deal with somebody they met at Wholesale Hotline during the live show. So no, we are not selling anything. We have nothing to sell. We actually, Brent, Jamil, and I are all three buddies. We sit here and talk about real estate anyway. And so a year and a half ago, we decided, hey, why don't we talk real estate? Why don't we get people to come on as special guests? And we ultimately started doing this for ourselves. And here we are doing a podcast for you for free. So Chris James' wife, no, there's nothing for sale. All right. So hopefully that helps you out.
There you go.
Let's see here. Okay, so I had a handful of questions in the side chat. I don't know if you guys saw those, but everybody's asking, do you call? Oh, I know why. It's Labor Day today. Do you call on holidays and Sundays, Brent and Jamil?
Brent.
I never did personally. On Sundays. On Sundays, I never did. On holidays, it just depends. I would try to get like an hour or two in. It was a good time to contact people. And I got that question a lot coming into this weekend. Should I call on Monday? And a lot of people, when they're starting out, you have a full-time job. So you got to squeeze out any time that you can. So if you're doing this full-time, take a break, relax, unless you feel the calling. If it's part-time and you got to squeeze every hour out of every week, every month, so that you can replace your income and go full-time as a real estate entrepreneur, then yes, of course, get excited about it. Just get on the phone and call people up. I mean, you're going to have some really good conversations.
On our end, we don't do a lot of direct to seller stuff, but when we're talking to buyers, I mean, yeah, I got staff members that are working today. It's people are still working. It's going to be lower volume. You're not going to sell a bunch of deals today, but you can make money.
We got a contract signed today. New acquisition guy on my team named Kyle got his first contract of all time. Reaching out to real estate agents.
Can I give him a bell ring, Pace?
Yes, please give Kyle a bell ring.
Kyle, come on.
Come on, Kyle. He's upstairs. He's actually upstairs. They're having a sales meeting without me, unfortunately. Cody showed up late to our sales meeting, and I was like, bro, I got Wholesale Hotline, dog. I'm not gonna now. I can't be part of the sales meeting, bro. Come on. But Kyle gets his first contract. He's been with us for about 10 days. First contract ever. It is with a realtor. So the house was listed And we sent out 816 text messages from Kyle's computer, and we got an agent that says, yeah, I actually have a deal, can't sell it, I don't know what's going on. We went over there, bought it for about 70% of ARV. We bought it for 300. It's worth about 415
Nice.
in Apache Junction. We are kind of weird though, right? We're really, really weird. We fix and flip a lot. And so we buy from ourselves a lot. And so we assigned it from our wholesale business to our fix and flip business for about a $20,000 or $25,000 profit. So Kyle will get paid. I don't know if he'll get paid on that, but it's his first deal. So super exciting. That happened today on Labor Day. Guys, people work on Labor Day. Okay. They work on Labor Day. Now, are we cold calling on Sunday? I would imagine that we would still get contracts if we did call on Sunday.
Yep.
The problem is I don't want to be a guy who calls when I don't want to be called. I'm okay being called on Saturdays and weekdays, but Sunday, like, let me hang out with my wife and my kids. Let me make babies in peace. Let me do my thing. You know, I don't want to we don't cold call or reach out. And we honestly, if a seller reaches out to us, even in like a PPC campaign, we don't touch it on Sunday. Sunday is like religious day. We don't do anything on Sunday. So awesome. Hopefully that answers your guys' question. There's another really good question. Somebody asked, if I wanted to be doing 2 deals a month consistently, what does my pipeline need to look like? And Brent, since you had that fancy dancy TTP font on your iPad right there.
It's custom. It's a custom.
It's obviously custom. You can only get that font if you have like a lot of muscles in your arm. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a weird angle. I'm not used to writing it. Put it down on the thing.
I'm just teasing
it's going to be bad anyway.
So listen, you've always had some of the best like infographics. You've always had the best information because you've been teaching for a long time. Like you have so many successful students, so many successful people. I've got a question for you regarding that question in the side chat. Is there a trickle down KPI such as I make 25 calls, I get a hold of one seller? No. Let's say I make 2,000 calls. I get a hold of 200 sellers. I have 20 conversations. I get 2 contracts. Is there something along those lines? Now, please, Brent, know I'm teeing you up for this question because I really genuinely want to know your answer.
Yep.
I have a new acquisition guy on my team too. Another new acquisition guy. His name is Andres. Okay. Andres is direct to seller. And we get about 50 to 80 leads a week, depending on the week. And he's calling those sellers. Today, he had 22 quality conversations.
Awesome.
Okay, which is really good. He had 22 quality conversations. He made 110 phone calls, just single hand dialing 110. I shouldn't say that.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I didn't say he's not pressing the number inside of our CRM. He pushes the smartphone button and it automatically calls them. So it's great. Yeah. But he made 110 calls to already existing leads doing follow-up. And he had 20 or 22 quality conversations. And his question right before I came down here to the studio, he said, can you please ask Brent? No, just kidding. He didn't say that. But I said, this is what I said. I go, I'll ask Brent your question because I'd love to know this answer. He says, if I have 22 quality conversations every single day, what should I expect on a monthly basis? So that would be 100 conversations a week, 400 conversations a month. By the way, these are people who have already been cold called. Our cold callers put them into the CRM. Then Andres is following up with them and saying, hi, my name is Andres. Sounds like you already talked to somebody on your team. Let me get a little bit more information. So these are not cold call conversations. These are conversations.
These are lead follow-up.
These are lead follow-ups.
Yep.
So 400 conversations a month.
Obviously depends on how many pillars of pre-qualifying he has off the bat, right?
Right.
So does he know the condition? Does he know the timeline? Does he know the motivation? Does he know the price? Those are all going to be real helpful, typically from a cold call or from other lead generation.
Bro, let me tell you that. Of course, our cold callers know who Brent Daniels is, and so we share the 4 pillars YouTube video with them all the time. All of our cold callers know that. They're highly trained on all 4 pillars.
Love it. So here is the stat. Let's take it just top and then we'll come all the way down with it, Pace.
Okay.
What happens is if you are making the calls yourself, okay, if it's just you grinding, you out there hustling up, making these calls, having these quality conversations, will you grab this? Here's the stats.
Oh, dude, who wrote that? Somebody with muscles?
Huh? Look at that. Okay.
You
Listen,
thought you had way more space at the top, and then you got down to the bottom. You're like, oh, shit.
Screenshot that. I'm going to turn that into an NFT. Okay. Anyway, 199 people are going to reject you. 199 of them are going to reject you. From that, if you're making those calls, typically you're going to get about 20 leads, and then you'll get one deal. Now, if you have a virtual assistant making your calls and they are experienced, you have to quadruple that number. All right. You have to. They're not into it as much as you are. They're not going to get deep in as much as you are. They're just not as invested. This is just stats across the board. I wish it was 1 for 1, but it's not. Usually it takes about four times as much. So you've got 799 people that you talk to that, or your VA talks to, that are going to be a no to get one deal. That means you're going to have 80 leads per one deal. So what's your guy's name? Pace?
Oh, Andres.
If you are getting it from a VA, which they're out there, they're bringing in these 50, 60, 70 leads. It's about 80 leads per deal that you're looking at. And from the time that you first contact them to the time it gets closed is typically around 90 days. So there's going to be a lot of follow-up in that first 60 days. You lock it up, it closes 30 days from there. All right. It's much different than if you get deals from marketing, which comes from whatever, direct mail or pay-per-click or Facebook or bandit signs or whatever else. Or you can be really smart and get referrals from people around town that are ready to sell right now. And that'll shorten your timeline. You don't need a tremendous amount. We could probably kick it over to Jamil to hit us with those numbers. But when it comes to referrals, that's a much different ballgame.
Okay,
I would
so
assume that you need less.
You're saying, and this is good information, because right now for our KPI for previous acquisition guys, if myself or Matt are handling the lead follow-up, we're doing from virtual assistants out of the Philippines, we're doing 1 out of 20 leads turns to a contract.
Awesome.
Okay? But that's me and that's Matt, right?
Sure. Now, is that wholesale or is that all of them? Wholesale, flip, creative?
That's just wholesale. Now,
okay.
Let me preface this. We wholesale, even if it comes in as a wholesale deal and we decide we want to fix and flip it, we always wholesale it to ourselves. And there's a very specific reason for that. One, we don't we don't fix and flip inside of our wholesale LLC. We always fix and flip inside of our fix and flip LLC. It has completely different employees and overhead and insurances and all that kind of stuff. And then also inside my wholesale operation, if I was just stealing from it and fixing and flipping, then my acquisition and my disposition people wouldn't get paid. So even my disposition people get paid when I fix and flip because I wholesale it from myself to myself, because I treat those entities as completely different entities. And some people are like, why do you do that? Well, because I don't do one deal a month. Right? We do between 15 and 20 deals a month. So it makes sense for us to be scaled. Now, when we go from ourselves, okay, this is such great information, Brent. I love that you answered this. So when you go from yourself to another trained, let's say American closer, you're going to run into 1 out of 40 leads gets converted, is what we've seen on our individual team.
Love it.
Okay. Now, when you get a brand new person that joins the team, it is 1 in 80 leads. Okay. So this is an interesting thing. So, Brent brought up a really good point. When you guys are growing your team and you're hiring acquisition people, you have to understand that you will be burning some leads in the process of training these people. Right, Brent? So be prepared for that.
There is. I mean, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be some time, and it just depends on which leads they're getting. Are they getting the ones that just came in today? Or are they picking up on the lead that's been in your database for a year? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you could have somebody coming in and they pop that, it happens every time, right? I mean, Jamil, you get somebody new coming in and all of a sudden they pop like some huge deal. You're like, oh my gosh.
It's so crazy when that happens.
They're going to be beasts. And then it kind of, whatever. It starts getting into a more normal routine there. But Yeah,
So,
it's
Jamil, is there a number from like agent outreach or from, working with wholesalers and doing astro flipping? Is there a KPI that you guys follow of like, you have to look at X amount of deals before you get a contract?
So, for instance, agent outreach is one of our really big winners for our reps at our corporate store, right? And so, what does that look like? They're having 50 conversations a day with realtors, and that means that they're probably going to have 250 contacts. They're going to make 250 contacts and have 50 conversations a day. That 50 conversations a day will average out to about 3 deals a month from agents.
Wow. So one rep
they're
inside of
calling up.
Keegley, is having 50 conversations a day with agents.
That's
Correct.
awesome. And
Is
are they
that
calling
all
as the
over the
buyer?
phone?
They're calling as the buyer. Yeah, it's on over the phone. It'll start from text and then it goes from text to calls.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it.
That's bro, that's an amazing statistic. Like, I know you guys hire the best of the best. It's crazy when I walk in there. I'm like, the Keegley is unbelievable. They're unbelievable. But 50 conversations, that's pretty incredible. I love that. Freaking love that. So if they have 50 conversations a day, is there a number that let's say a rep joins you and says, hey, I'm doing 50 conversations a day with the agents. When should I plan, just by sheer numbers alone, not by charisma, talent, or anything else, just by numbers alone, how quickly should I expect my first contract from agent outreach?
30 to 45 days of follow-up.
Got it. Okay. So you're going to have 1,500 conversations before you start filling your pipeline.
Yep.
But after that, once they're trained, is it 1 a week? Is it 2 a week? What do you guys?
It averages out to about 3 a month.
Got it.
Yep.
Love that. That's such great information.
Are they hand dialing, Jamil? Or are they on a dialer?
We're in a CRM, Close. We use Close.
Love it. So is it like they push a button and it just goes?
Yeah, and so then they're making notes on the computer as to what that conversation was like, when the agent said to follow back up with them. So then it gets pushed the day that they're supposed to follow up with that agent. They're calling that agent.
I love it. And can you text from that?
Yep.
Woo! Whoa! Come on.
Yep.
I love that.
It's incredible.
I love that.
Jamil, this is a good question because I know one of your franchisees is one of my students, and he is crushing it in Atlanta. So I'd love for you to maybe touch on this. When should somebody buy a Keegley franchise, and are there any risks? And besides the obvious of like, well, yeah, there's a risk if you don't actually put in the work, because just because you own a Subway franchise doesn't mean your sandwiches are going to sell themselves. Like, you got to have good employees. You got to have a clean restaurant. You got to do things properly. You got to follow the franchise rules. Like, obviously,
Right.
Is there anything that would be a risk that we might not think about?
I think the number one question we get for risks is, what if there's a change in regulation? And our immediate response is, go get licensed. I mean, we are absolutely, look, I get a phone call from a local wholesaler that all three of us know. I'd say once a month, I'll hear from him, and he'll have had a few cocktails, and it'll say, hey, the change is coming. The regulators are going to shut everybody down. I've already gotten a call, or this guy already got a call, or this guy already got a call. And the reason why our phone never rings is because our entire office is licensed. Yep. Right. If you get licensed, then you don't have to worry about wholesaling becoming regulated, because you will have the license to do what you need to do. So that would be one of those risks that I think that people think are inherently there. I don't believe that market turns are a risk in wholesale, because if you are wholesaling, you're not holding. And right. We make money on up, and we make money on the way down as well. And so I don't know that specific there. Now, of course, there is a period where there's just no activity. And we all know that that's like the eye of the storm. When things start to, we start to see things turning, there gets to a point where everybody just stops. And there's going to be a few months of uncomfort at that point, but you'll start making money in the other direction then. But when should somebody buy a Keegley franchise? When they're serious about the business, when they're absolutely serious about it, when they're willing to put a substantial investment on the table, when they're willing to have people that they hire who they're responsible for in their charge, and they know that they're going to be responsible to have those people. I think that it's when you are absolutely serious about this business, then it makes sense for you to have a franchise. If you're still testing the waters and if you've still got, a couple of toes in the pool, it's not for you.
Love that answer. Freaking love that answer. I had a couple questions in here today. People asking if we're live. Like, what is the deal with that question? That's so interesting. Should we hold up the daily newspaper right when we go live and be like, guys, today the date is blah 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 blah.
I mean, people are responding, so I mean, you would think, but yeah, we're here. That's
Ooh,
awesome.
look at this guy.
There's Ryan.
Ryan
Join us
Zolan.
Thursdays, Millionaire Before 30 with Ryan, the superstar 23-year-old. We're going on week 3. This week, we're talking about getting deals off the MLS with Ryan. It's going to be real interesting.
He's a diehard Jamil fan. I'll tell you that much for sure.
Who isn't?
Ryan was one of my first students in astro flipping.
He said he was the first student.
Yeah, he was the first I signed up. He was.
Yeah.
We had no track record. We had no, other than our business credibility, which he'd heard of. Ryan was brand new in the business. He walked into my office and we actually signed him up in person. That's how fresh it was.
Well, it's obviously working for him. I mean,
oh my gosh,
he's 15 minutes away from being a millionaire at 23 years old.
Bro, he was just on the TV show for his flip. He's crushing it.
Self-made.
And he's got all the deals coming from MLS, you said, right?
He does them all.
A lot of them.
He did 32 deals in a month off MLS.
That's crazy.
Yep. Thursday, 10 a.m. Brent Daniels' YouTube channel. Sorry for the plug, guys, but it's going to be a banana show.
Plug it. Honestly, I feel like Ryan's the new blood, right? Guys like him, and Pace has some incredible, like April Giuliano. You look at folks like that. You look at Katie Fisher, a TTP student. I mean, we've got some incredible folks that have come through our programs that are just moving and shaking and being loud, right? And I truly believe that in Ryan's age group, the millennial age group, there's a resonance there. There's a connection there, and he speaks to that demographic in the best way possible because he's gone through the exact same life, And here's this guy at going to be a millionaire in no time, and it's crazy to me. It's so amazing. I couldn't be prouder of the guy.
Yeah.
Brandon Mitchell watches a live the other night with my son Asher. I don't know if a lot of people have been watching this, but we've been doing this free Zoom, right? With we have 3,500 people registered for it, and it's maxed out at 1,000 people on Zoom. So I'm sorry, not everybody can watch it live, but it's free. And the reason why we do it on Zoom is because I can actually highlight you, talk to you. You can raise your hand. I can unmute you, and we can actually have a conversation. And so it's been a lot of fun. However, Brandon Mitchell was watching this. We were talking about the MLS, and it is surprising to me, but also a good reminder that not everybody knows what the MLS is.
Yeah.
And we had to do a 7-minute conversation about what MLS is. Jamil, you talk about Ryan Zolan getting all these deals from the MLS. Would you mind answering Brandon Mitchell's question? Because here's what I did. Last night on Sunday service, Cody and I just pulled up Arizona's MLS, and I said, you guys think creative finance is something I created? This has been around for a long time. Agents know about this. Brokers know about this. So we go on MLS, and Cody pulls up 129 properties in Maricopa County that all are on the MLS selling on seller finance. So can you help answer this question? What is the MLS? Why is it important to somebody like a Ryan Zolan?
Hey, Brandon. So his question is, Pace, how much is that MLS site that you mentioned yesterday? So Brandon, the MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service, and that's typically regulated state by state. Now, every state or every major market is going to have their own MLS. So you can't just pay to be on an MLS. In fact, the MLS is usually only only for real estate professionals. So we're talking real estate agents, appraisers, mortgage brokers will have access to the MLS, but the actual public doesn't have access to the MLS. And you can't just go and pay some fees and get access to it. So what are the workarounds? Well, one of the workarounds that I found is using Realtor.com, which plugs in to the RETS feed of local MLSs and provides national data. And so using sites like Realtor.com or using sites like even Zillow, for that matter, will get you information that is on the MLS. And so that you can use it to comp, or you can use it to find properties that are listed on the market. Now, the thing that Pace had mentioned about finding seller finance deals on the MLS, guys, he couldn't be more right. He couldn't be more right about how amazing that strategy is. I don't do a lot of seller finance, but I can tell you this. If you reached out to agents who had deals or had listings that were over 90 days old, and now you know the reason it's sitting on the MLS is for 90 days or more is it's overpriced. So their seller has some situation that doesn't allow them to reduce their price. Maybe they're upside down on the house. Maybe the house is just too ugly for the note. Maybe it needs a substantial renovation to get worth that deal or that money. But that doesn't mean that it won't cash flow. And so you could have conversations with every single one of those real estate agents that has a deal that's been sitting for 90 days or more and see, are your sellers interested in selling on terms? And then go listen to the seller conversations that Pace has and understand how to go over all of the objections that the agent might have. And bada bing, bada boom, you'll have a deal.
So I gotta admit something myself. Like, we get so many sub 2 and seller finance deals. In fact, we just bought 4 more from Katie Fisher last week, TTP student. I say TTP is talk to people, but also if it's a creative finance deal, it stands for take to pace. Take those deals to pace.
Dog.
Take to pace. Just any creative finance deals, just take to pace. TTP those bad boys. So what happens is Cody and I are like, man, we should go on the MLS and see what's available. There's an 8-plex that we're buying on seller finance on the MLS. 600 days in the hottest real estate market in whatever amount of years, sitting there on the MLS. We call the agent and he's like, wait, you're serious? You want to buy this? This thing's been on the market for 630 plus days. Yeah, it says in the listing that the seller's open to terms. Oh yeah, he's open to terms. So an 8-plex in Tempe, Arizona, a stone throw away from ASU, 8 2-bed, 1 bath that all will bring in $1,500 a month. So it'll bring in about $12,000 gross, and the seller wants a payment of $5,000 a month.
Wow.
Love it.
And it's on the MLS.
Love it.
It's on the MLS. So guys, those opportunities are out there. The challenge is, here's my question. Let's say that I need MLS access for these types of deals, right? But I'm not a licensed agent. What would be good advice, Brent, for me to get access to the MLS without being a licensed agent?
Real quick, can you go up to George Lopez, our homie in Tucson doing 30 deals? Go up. One more. Nope. Keep going. A little bit further up, maybe 10 things up there. 20 to 25 deals from the MLS. There he is. Look at this. Shout out to you, George. And also, we've got another celebration. Drew.
Yeah, I saw that.
Drew Renner did his first deal in 6 months. Congratulations, Drew. Congratulations, George.
Ring that bell. Ring it twice.
Amazing.
There you go. Here's the thing. Somebody in your family is a realtor.
That's not possible, Brent.
Hey, listen. Somebody in your family is a realtor. Somebody's best friend is a realtor.
Someone at your barbershop.
Literally, no. Literally,
the Walmart grader at your local Walmart is a realtor.
If you post to Facebook right now and says, I need a realtor, help, there will be 500 response. It'll be your most liked and responded to and commented post you've ever posted.
Hold on. Let me post that on
media.
IG. I'm going to post that on IG right now. Hold on.
I am telling you, if you put, I need a realtor, help, and somebody comes out, I am telling you, you can talk to that person, work with them, partner up with them, have whatever agreement you need, whatever it is. Hopefully it's just, can I come over and look at your MLS with you and you can help me with these deals? You do that. I mean, you've got access to the MLS. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's how you get access to the MLS locally. You know somebody. or somebody knows you, just post it and just make it a wonderful. Well, listen, that's a funny thing, because the joke around here, there's 50,000, right? 60,000
56,000 licensed realtors.
Licensed
Crazy.
realtors in Phoenix. When they pull you over in Phoenix, Arizona, they ask for your real estate license, not your driver's license. That's the joke. That's the everybody is. So there you go.
And guys, again, take the 9-day course and go get your license.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Just do it.
I asked everybody the other night on Sunday service, I was like, what's the opposition to being licensed? Like, why is that such a big deal for people?
I think it's taking the test.
That's it.
People are done taking tests. People don't like taking tests.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You have
Brent,
to study.
Can you answer this question for me?
Oh, yeah. TTPinsider.com. TTPinsider.com.
So Ruben Aguilar says, where can we get a cold calling script? I'm planning to start cold calling and looking for deals. I would definitely go on Brent Daniels' YouTube channel. I still, like, even in my phase of the industry, I watch 4 people's YouTube channels every single week. Brent and Jamil are 2 of those. Okay. I pay attention to what both these guys are doing. Brent teaches me stuff every single week, especially on his Wednesday lives. Tune into that. Okay. Tune into that. Especially cold calling. Type in Brent Daniels cold calling. And if you really want to have fun, Brent Daniels cold calling shirtless, put that in YouTube.
That's it.
That's a good one. And you'll get his cold calling script at talktopeople.com, right? Is that the right place?
No. TTP Insider. TTP. I mean, you can get it at talktopeople.com for sure. TTP Insider. I was just looking at my phone, Jamil, one of your new franchisees, Stefan Lindstrom, in the group. He's a TTPer in the
he's a sub 2 student. He was actually worked on my acquisition team, probably locked up 20, 30 deals for us in a 4-month time frame. Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm gonna have him in the podcast interview room on Friday.
Yeah, he's good. I think I have 5 or 6 sub 2 rentals that he acquired for us.
Look, guys, it's somebody wanting to buy my house.
There it is. Sorry, Jamil.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You see this? See this, guys? How many people answer that? Which is why when you use a dialer like Batch Dialer instead, and you get fresh phone numbers, that won't happen. Yep. Guys, can we put up the affiliate link for the Batch Dialer? It's just batchdialer.com/squat up.
Squat up.
Don't waste your time. Why? You know what? This is why this is what bothers me the most about this. Is what did this cost, Pace? This person, potential spam, okay? This person, they're paying a VA, I bet. They paid for data. They paid for skip tracing. They're waiting for leads.
Yep.
They're every day that they're not getting leads, their business isn't thriving. Why is that happening still? Why are people not paying attention to that one little piece of technology that could actually make someone answer the phone?
So years ago, I actually had a conversation with Evo. There was like a 2-week time frame when this was before Batch Dialer came out, and Evo, as both you guys know, Evo's the inventor and programmer and owner of Batch Dialer. Cody and I were struggling for like a 2-week time frame. We're like, what is going on? Why are we not getting leads? Like our VAs, like all of a sudden, just one day, stopped getting leads. And we went in, had a quick conversation. He looked underneath the hood and he was like, oh, you have an issue with your dialer, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, I wish somebody would create a dialer that just works all the time. And that one period, that 2-week period, we equated that to about $100,000 in revenue that we lost because we didn't have the right access to the right tool. And it wasn't until 2 weeks was up that we even caught it. That was the interesting thing, right? So think about it. Like people aren't watching every minute of every day of what's going on with their dialer and their virtual assistant. So you've got to watch every day, or you've got to make sure you have the right tools so you know that it's working even when you're not. Batch Dialer.
I mean, they know it. There's just a huge difference. I mean, we talk about it and people are like, oh, it's just you're selling it. It's like, okay, we'll just keep hitting deals. You know, you can keep using the other dialers, but it's if your contact rate is going down, you should consider doing a little research on Batch Dialer. There you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's see here, man. We've had some really good, and look at this. This is just like, we see this stuff the whole entire show, guys. This
What
is
up, Kenneth?
exactly why we do this. Who's in Atlanta? Let's squat up, guys. You need to be squatting up now. Brent, Jamil, what would you guys do if somebody reaches out to you? Let's say you're just starting and somebody's like, let's squat up. What are some things? What are physical things you can do to go squat up? Is it just getting each other's cell phone number and being like, hey, man, oh, cool. You like Wholesale Hotline too? Me too. Awesome. Is that squatting up, or is it something
Well, they
deeper?
can comp deals together. Underwriting deals together is probably one of the key ways that you can work with each other. Go watch Brent's show on Wednesday. Watch Straight Outta Compton, comp deals with us, right? And then check notes. See, did the person that you're squatting up with, did they get the same result as you? And if not, why? You got to get real nerdy about this. You got to get passionate about it.
Yeah.
If you get passionate about it and you actually want to do this work, then you'll get success, right? But yes, squatting up, sharing information about buyers, possibly sharing techniques on how they're talking to sellers, sharing even conversations about maybe shady characters not to work with. Pace, I mean, you and I, we ended up forming probably one of the greatest friendships in this business because we shared information about somebody that was possibly, that ended up bankrupting you for $1 million.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do. That's what squatting up is: sharing, caring. You guys don't understand how much. Like I sit down and I take a look at over a month period how many things Pace quietly does for me. Just quietly.
Yep.
Just quietly
incredible.
does for me.
He's
He
incredible.
He does, and I get these little random things happen. A random person will show up at my door with a microphone. Stuff will happen, and in the background, Pace is doing things to just show that he is a friend, that he is a true person, right?
Yep.
So when you squat up, you also make relationships. Those friendships then become business relationships. And look at what's happened with Pace and I from that responding to one DM. We're on national television in a couple of weeks.
That is true. It was one DM. It did take Jamil about 3 weeks to reply because at the time he just had a picture of an owl as his Instagram picture. But that is true. And it's the same thing with Brent. Like, I brought my pregnant wife into his office years ago, 3 years ago plus. And at the time I was just kind of a solo wholesaler working with home investors. Granted, I was doing a lot of deals, but became friends with Brent. Here we are. Like, Brent still to this day, Jamil and I talk about this all the time. Brent is probably the most inspirational, hardest working, most like authentically amazing human beings ever. And it came from reaching out and saying, how do we connect? How do we squad up? Right. We've done a lot of deals together. I own multiple rentals because of Brent selling me creative finance deals. Guys, squatting up is not just a phrase. It's a real thing. So here's a couple of ideas I would do. And Brent, I want to hear your advice on this as well. I would do watch parties. Right. I would do a watch party with like watching Brent's show, Jamil's comping show. One thing that I feel like people don't do well enough on Jamil's show is what I would be doing is when somebody gives out the address to Emily, who is Jamil's support on that show, I would see if I could comp that house faster than Jamil. And you're going to get to a point where you will, because Jamil obviously has to speak to the audience. He has to talk through what he's doing. But guys, you need to be following along, right? And do it together. Get 2 or 3 of you guys, go to a Starbucks, go to McDonald's. My partnership with Cody Barton started in a McDonald's lobby. And now the guy drives a freaking Porsche GT3 or whatever the heck it is, right? Totally. So these things start with humble beginnings. McDonald's lobby, Starbucks lobby, outside in a park, whatever. Here's another thing I would do. If you are a non-student of Pace, Jamil, or Brent, right? We all have coaching programs because ultimately we do a lot of deals. People ask us questions and we put it in a very organized A to Z, and we build communities of amazing, amazing go-giver type of people. If you are not one of our students, squad up with one of our students. They have access to stuff that's not on YouTube. It's not in books. It's not in seminars. Real nitty gritty detail that is sequential, right? Things that take you through the steps A, B, C, D, etc. Squad up with a TTP student, squad up with an Astro student, and squad up with a sub 2 student. How do I do that? Don't take them to lunch. Bring them leads. Bring them things that you're like, I don't know what to do with this. I have a seller that's interested in selling. Can you help me comp it? Can you help me call it? Can you help me underwrite and figure out what to do? Go bring them value. Every single time I squat up with Brent and Jamil, it was always based on what value can I bring to you, valuable human beings? Exchange value for value. Trashy leads. Offer to take photos for them. Offer to drive for dollars for them. If you have no money to call leads and you don't have money to do any of that stuff, drive for dollars for another wholesaler in your market and say, I will drive for dollars. I'll get 200 houses a day, bring those over to you. There's 100 different ways to squat up. Brent, do you have any ideas that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, there is, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking about an incredible group that I talked to last week. They live in Israel, right? All of them. They're all living in Israel, wholesaling, virtually wholesaling here in the United States. Absolutely crushing because they all get together. They all share best practices. They all bring in people to talk to the group and just do an incredible job. And one thing that I think is something that I found the best people that I wanted to squat up with were the people that were willing to do the work. All right. So getting together, doing a Super Saturday, doing a Wednesday thing, doing a whatever, get together, stand up, overcome your fear, and make calls together. Because you know what happens? What happens is you go, okay, Wholesale Hotline. Yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to hit the phones tomorrow. I'm going to go. And then you're at your house and you're not used to being proactive at your house. And it's just you standing there and you're like, whoa, man. Well, maybe I should get pumped up and get ready to get going. And then nothing happens. And then nothing happens. And then nothing happens. You need to have some outside accountability. If you go to the gym every day, that's great. Wait till you have kids and a wife and school projects and a business and everything else going on. No, listen, the reason I go to the gym as often as I do, or the only reason that I'm consistent, is because I have a trainer there. I have somebody that I am accountable to. I will always show up for that because I would feel terrible blowing that off. Okay. So if you have somebody that you are accountable with, it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you have more confidence and courage, and it's going to build you up, and it's going to take you from faith that you can do this to it being a fact once you get your first check. And then you just support and squat up and squat up and squat up. Right. But the most important thing here is don't, and I love that Jamil says this, and I say it all the time, you know, comparison is the thief of joy. And I think, and I had this conversation with somebody today that has done well, but they want to be doing more, is they're comparing themselves to where they think they should be. And that's a very slippery slope. That is quicksand. Now, I love having fire in your belly. I love having passion. I love like feeling the pressure and feeling like, oh my gosh, like I really have to grind and do all these things. But if you're thinking that in 90 days or 2 years, you're going to be a multi-millionaire and have all this thing figured out and have the best company and the best situation, the best relationships and the best body, and have a million Instagram followers and 1 million people on you, all these things, right? You are setting yourself up for failure. Just work that day. Just work that day. Just really kick ass that day. And if you have somebody there that you can squat up with, and it's that day, that's how you build it up. That's how you really build that momentum, and you win.
Yeah.
Guys, play that back 50 times.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Play that back. Brent, just clip that part and put it on your social medias tomorrow. Everybody go to Brent's Instagram tomorrow. His team they're doing it right now while I'm saying it. They're going to clip that little piece, and that's going to be on, and play that thing back 50 freaking times a day. Play that back to you so that that's in your head.
Yeah.
Make it a part of your subconscious. Thank you for sharing that.
That's really good, dude.
Yep.
Really good.
So squat up. I mean, squat up. We've said it for 81 shows. We'll say it for another 1,000 shows. I mean, listen, you're only as strong as the people around you. You know, some ways from me on Lake Day. That's
Tia Campbell is one of my favorite students. She's out of LA. She actually, Jamil, you remember having dinner with Tia in LA? We had sushi with her.
Fantastic person. She's wonderful.
She's awesome.
Hey, what's happening on October 2nd, Pace?
I think we're having a party at my house with 300 people.
We would love to hear from the Wholesale Hotline audience of how we can get more TVs on Saturday at noon on A&E. We want to blow through the ratings, guys. Anybody have any ideas? Put them in the chat.
Yeah, our show premieres Saturday, October 2nd, and we're having
at noon. Is it at noon Pacific? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. What time do I have to be there, Pace, to
9 a.m.
to get a spot?
9 a.m.
Probably not.
I already got the invite. So 9 a.m. I will be there, sitting there, reserving a spot for the 12 o'clock showing. That's going to be absolutely incredible. Who are the other 299 people coming, Pace?
All TTP students that sell me deals.
We got a bunch of mommy bloggers showing up.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Really? That is genius. Holy cow. Yeah.
It's the demographic, right? I mean, the demographic of people that are dead
Pinterest
serious
world.
about real estate are already on Wholesale Hotline. So the other people that don't know they're necessarily into real estate are on mommy blogger Instagrams.
I love it.
When are we going to Israel and doing a meetup there?
That would be dope.
Guys, we got to go do a meetup in Israel, in Haifa. Let's go.
Hey, if you guys are ready, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Brother, Israel is one of the most amazing places on the planet.
You been?
I've been, dude. Like Tel Aviv, breathtaking. Jerusalem, old city Jerusalem. It's inspiring and just, a spiritual pilgrimage. And then Haifa is just one of the most gorgeous places. It's like Hawaii in the desert.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Awesome. We'll have to figure. We're gonna have to dial it in.
Yep.
In a few years when you guys are done with your, your touring around the country flipping houses show.
Yeah. When do we start traveling again? Is this COVID thing going to slow us down, Jamil, or what's the story?
I mean, it didn't slow us down last time, did it?
I feel like it did. It's like the trip we tried to take to New York that kind of hurt us there. But for the most part, like Texas and Florida, we were able to jump around. We were on a tear there for a while. We were like 2000. It was like right when we started 2019 through 2000, like the first couple of months of 2020. It was like every other week we were at a new place, meeting up with TTP students, Astro students, Sub 2 students. Man, that was fun.
It's one of the best years of my life.
Yeah, I agree.
And then COVID shut everything down, and you guys are like, well, we got to find something else to do. So why don't we just do the top TV show for flipping houses?
We had no idea where that came from. Oh my gosh.
They're out of control. They can't sit still.
You guys want to know where that came from? Guys, this is where that came from. Pace calls me up one day and he's like, hey, we're chasing the same deal. We're chasing the exact same deal. Why don't we flip it together? Let's squat up and flip the deal together. I'm like, okay, cool. So I call my team and I'm like, hey, stop negotiating on that deal. Let Pace have it. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, let Pace have it. He's going to have it. We're going to flip the house together. About a couple weeks later, Pace closes on the deal, calls me up and says, hey, you know that deal? Come over. We're going to walk it. Let's do a YouTube video. So Pace has me over to walk this house. We do a YouTube video, and that's where everything happened. A producer watched that, sent that, created a whole sizzle reel that they didn't even ask us about, created a whole sizzle reel and went and sold a show behind our backs, and then called us and we're like, you want it? Do you guys want to be on TV? Because you better.
Called talent. That's called talent. So look at you guys. That's awesome.
Jamil was so funny in that freaking YouTube video. I couldn't stop laughing. I don't think they even care. It was my channel, so which was great. But Jamil was so funny. He was wearing the person's clothes that we bought the house from.
No.
Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh.
No. What were you wearing, Jamil?
A police
he was
outfit.
a cop. He was a cop, and he was a hoarder. Right? Okay, so here I was. You know what's funny? Last night I had drinks with the commander of the Scottsdale Police Force, right? And so here I am, and guys, let me just say this. if you had known me in a different life, that's not something I do, right? So I was in a different world. I was on the other side of the planet when it came to, cops. But as I've grown, I've gained a lot of respect for everybody. I love everyone, and I'm not going to create in my mind some BS thing of I don't like cops. I love cops. Cops are amazing. They protect my family. There are some bad apples out there, but there's amazing people out there. So anyways, we're in this cop's house, and this cop is a hoarder, and I don't know what I do. I put the jacket on, and I'm like, hey, he's like, woo, 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 why you driving so fast? I'm trying to get the fuck out of your house, man.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was great. And that was a fun day. You know what we did? If Jamil remembers, I just posted on Instagram that day and I go, who wants to come to a fix and flip and just learn what it looks like to walk through a fix and flip before you start demolition? Like, that's squatting up, right?
Yep.
And that's why Jamil is bringing this up, is like, what really started a lot of this stuff was Brent Daniels doing Super Saturdays, right? Like getting people to come over and doing calls. Guys, do things that are active. Get together, call sellers together, comp houses together, drive for dollars together, do whatever it is, get around each other, because these are the types of things that happen when you do. In a world where everybody's just all virtual, we all are craving that face-to-face interaction. And it doesn't have to be you guys closing deals and making millions of dollars and being perfect at your business. It starts with humble beginnings. And so like we just put a post out on Instagram. We had like 30 people show up to this house randomly. And we all put them in our YouTube video and just had a blast, and then went and had breakfast afterwards. Guys, that's all squatting up is. Get around people that also want to be in this business.
Well, in 2021's, motto, get loud, share it. Share that with somebody, right? All of a sudden you go and, two people want to see a flip that you're doing. Now, all of a sudden, everybody sees that. The next one, there's 5 people. The next one, there's 10. The next one, you're getting together and you're squatting up with people that are either in the same position or they're just getting started, or, they just have a really good enthusiasm for this business. But if you're quiet, if you don't understand the power of this thing changes everything. Turn it around, start filming yourself, be loud and be excited. Share your excitement with the world. You don't have to be out there, flashing all the cash and all the fancy stuff. Just be you walking through an ugly house. I'm telling you, people love it. People 100%. Love it. People would love to see that. There's not a person, I think, in the United States, it's not like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to just flip a house and it's just make a profit and do a really great job? I'm telling you, it's just, it's got a wild, deep appeal, and you'd be surprised who you could squat up with that is going to join you. It could be family, it could be people you don't even know, but it's exciting.
Everybody in the chat, just put what town you're in. Just type what town you're in the chat right now, so that if somebody recognizes or they're in the same area as you, then you guys can connect.
Yeah. And be loud. 2021. Be loud. Be loud. Be loud. Be loud. You are incredible. You are amazing. You are phenomenal. Don't be awkward. Be goofy. Just turn it around and just do it. I'm telling you, after like the 10th time, all of a sudden you turn into Pace Morby and everything.
Bro, I had the most magnificent seller call of my life yesterday. Okay.
Talk to
I'll
us.
share it with everybody on here. Or rather this, I'll give it to my sub-2 students and they can share it with everybody. Get in touch with a sub-2 student, squat up with them, and I'll let them share this call. It's a 45-minute call of a $10 million portfolio, okay? 120 houses, $10 million in Gainesville, Florida, seller finance. And the person who brings it to me says there's no way you're overcoming this guy's objections. There's no way you're overcoming this guy's objections. His timeline is 2 years away. 35 minutes of him saying no to me. No. I finally come up with an idea called a dating period contract, which is a new contract type I've been working on. I'm calling it the dating period contract. I throw out the idea of the dating period, and the seller says, oh my gosh, why have I never heard of this? This solves every issue that I have. This is brilliant. I love this. Let's move forward with this. And the guy I get off the phone that brought the deal to me goes, what happened? What happened? And guys, do you think I don't record every call? Because you just never know what's going to happen on these calls. You need them not only for yourself to critique yourself, but also for future training for your team members. So when you have team members, they want to see how to call and close sellers, record every call, the good, the bad, and the ugly ones. And then 3, you get to share with everybody, right? So live the law of duality. I'm always doing 2 things at once. I'm never doing laundry by itself. I'm doing laundry and listening to a podcast. I'm calling a seller and training a future member of my team at the exact same time and giving value to the community so everybody else can come up. Guys, everybody needs you to post the good, the bad, and the ugly and share your message. Brent is the person that has been like the number one person pushing this. Get loud, get loud, get loud.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, it's just, and I'm not the one, and it just depends on what you want to do. I'm not going to be the guy that's on Instagram all the time. I saw Pace literally have like, I don't know, like 1,200, maybe 2,500 followers, and then just boom, 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 and then explode over the last 2 years, over the last 24 months. It's been bananas. It's been the same with you. I mean, Jamil wasn't on social media at all.
No.
Jamil was an owl. Jamil was following nobody and had 13 followers. It was all his family, you know, and then, you know what I mean? Like, it's incredible what can happen in 12 to 24 months. And it just depends on what you want to put out there and how you want to do it. But as you're getting excited and building it up, you're going to find some incredible people on there if you share your journey with them. I mean, you see some incredible stories even on YouTube. Lily Thompson has a great channel of her going through her stuff. I did an interview with her. She was phenomenal. Former basketball and, you know, Harlem Globetrotter, and got into real estate and just showing all that stuff. I mean, this isn't rocket science. Just sit down with a camera and or turn this thing around and just share your experience. And it's incredible what happens. But you have to. I'm telling you, it's a cheat
I've got
code.
an idea.
It's a cheat code for all this.
What if we did something like next week or the week after where we have one of the audience members of Wholesale Hotline and we find people that are currently squatting up in their local geographical area and talk to them about what they're doing to squat up with each other? Would we be interested in that? Maybe having Kelly Hanno help us find a couple of people that have been squatting up in the Facebook group, squatting up in the comments, and get a couple of people on here for like a 10, 15-minute conversation sometime next week?
Great. Let's do that.
I love it.
All right, guys.
I also want to bring Brandon Mitchell on here.
Oh, I'd love to bring Brandon Mitchell on here.
Come on. Awesome. He is phenomenal. Just pop him on here. Let's see how his business is going. Let's have him just pepper us with questions for a half hour or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it.
That's what we should do. All right.
That's a great idea.
Two from now. We're going to get you.
We did this deal. So on Sunday service, I had this guy from my free creative finance Facebook group. His name is Matt Suddeth. And he couldn't afford to join the mentorship, which is fine, right? Like mentorship is not all for everybody at any given time, right? It's a timing thing and whatever else. And so I go, you know what? Why don't you come on Sunday service as a special guest and Cody and I will dissect your business and we'll figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, dude, I'd love that. So he comes on the show. And in 15 minutes, we dissect his business. We kept him on for an hour and a half, but in 15 minutes, we knew exactly what his problem was. It was converting sellers, right?
Yep.
So I said, dude, here's what I'll do. I'll go above and beyond this. I want you to set up 10 calls for me personally this coming Saturday. I will do it on a live Zoom for my students, and I'll give you that value so you can squat up with my students inside one of our very private Zooms. He sets up 10 calls. I, unfortunately, am only able to make 5. We lock up 4 contracts. And the only reason the 5th didn't get locked up is because the 5th person didn't answer. So guys, I'm telling you, squatting up with people and getting other people to call your sellers and bring a completely different voice to some of your leads is a game-changing opportunity for you. If you are having a hard time with converting sellers, get somebody else in the community on the phone and see what a different personality can do. See what somebody with a different level of confidence can do. Mark Rojas says, look, check it out. He says that live Zoom was dope. I only had 2 hours, unfortunately, and they were amazing, amazing calls. And the reality is my students can make those calls too. So if you are looking for somebody to help you out with really challenging, no equity sellers or sellers that want too much money, find yourself a sub 2 student to squat up with and get them on the freaking phone and have them call your leads.
Love it. Huge.
Well, I want to dissect Brandon Mitchell's business. I think it's a great idea, Brent.
Yep.
I don't know if he's in here anymore.
He's like, oh no. I like being behind the scenes. Nice try. There's no hiding on Wholesale Hotline. All right.
For real.
You.
We'll find you.
Awesome.
I don't know if I'm allowed to announce this, but Jonathan Newsom says, Pace, you're going to be on Closer Olympics, bro. If you are, the competition is over. I was asked to be a judge on Closer Olympics, and I have accepted to be a judge on the Closer Olympics. So I will be a judge on the Closer Olympics coming up soon. Brent, how was that experience? Was it pretty good?
I will also be a judge on there, and it was intense, man. It was intense. You know, one of the interesting things, and I had this conversation with a student today too, is the sense of urgency, because they had 30 minutes. They said, listen, and it was almost like they took it off of their plate and put it on to somebody else. They would say, you know, my boss needs to buy a house today. We need to buy something today. I would love it to be your property. Are you ready to go? And it was amazing how well that was working, right? Like if you go with that sense of urgency that you've got 30 minutes to lock up a deal and you have either a partner or boss or whatever else, or however you want to do it, it takes it off, right?
It does so much. Third party, bro. I call it the fictitious third party. It's a false third party. You just say, oh yeah, my boss, my partner, my lender. The line we use with our
finance department.
Oh yeah, always, dude. The finance department. We tell them that our lenders give us a certain amount of money every week and we have to spend it or we lose it. And sellers are like, okay, all right, let me help you spend that. And they come into the conversation a little bit more. Urgency is critical in conversations with sellers. You've got to instill urgency, and you looking for a good deal doesn't get urgency instilled in them. So telling them that your boss needs to find a deal today, that's a great thing.
Well, and that goes back to the whole thing of just having that, that accountability and having, I think that a lot of times the biggest thing that really slows us down is the fear of success, right? The fear of winning this deal, of them saying yes, of you putting together that contract and selling that contract. And you're like, oh my gosh, like this is really happening. And you kind of like want to ease into it. You want to tiptoe into it. But if you have a boss that's going to fire you if you don't get a deal this week, that makes you feel a lot different up here. That makes you not tiptoe around these leads and hope that they do something. This makes them like you need to nut up or shut up type of situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I just some sprinkling some thoughts there on everybody. Go with it. What if you had somebody? What if Jamil was standing over your shoulder for a whole day and you got every single lead that you had and you had to call all of them, and Jamil would just totally just scream at you or whatever. He would just look at you.
I would just roast you. I just say,
shit to you. Roast you. He would roast you if you didn't get a deal locked up that day. Watch, you would lock something up.
He would clown you all day long, 100%.
If you had the fear that Jamil was going to roast you live on Wholesale Hotline or whatever,
you guys have seen it. I've roasted the odd commenter here.
Sure. Well, I mean, just imagine somebody, if you're out there by yourself, imagine that you have a boss and that boss is looking over you and looking at you and you have to get a deal this week. You have to get a deal this week out of all these leads. You will find it. Yep. I'm telling you, fire it up.
You guys mind if I give my ebook away about calling sellers?
Do it.
Please.
I have this thing. I dressed up as a wizard and I called sellers for a week, and I call it Sub 2 Seller Spells Incantations for the Creative Investor.
Love it.
And just give it away for free. It's me on the phone talking to sellers and overcoming 5 main objections.
Yep.
I believe in showing you guys. And so it is, here we go. It's sub2.com/ebook. I don't know why my team calls it that. It should be something called something cooler than that. But
yeah, like the magical scroll.
Yeah, yes, exactly. There it is, guys. It's on the screen. HTTP, blah, 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 blah. Go.sub2.com/ebook. Go download it. I'm getting a lot of DMs. People, I got a great DM. Oh my gosh, I got that great. Can I share this DM just real quick?
Yep.
I'm sure you guys get these all the time. His name's Greg Clark. Pace, I'm reaching out to let you know how appreciative I am of you and your partners. Literally one line from your ebook helped me lock up a deal I'm doing blah, 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 blah. Total assignment, $64,000. Bro, he says that one line was a $64,000 line, and I have 3 more deals in escrow just from that one line.
What's his name?
His name is Greg Clark. He says to me, no response required. I don't need love, and this is not ass kissing. I genuinely appreciate you and all the amazing value that you and your partners give. And he's talking about you two guys.
Greg, so, everybody needs love.
Yeah, he says he's totaling
$187,000
in assignments from that one ebook, giving him one line alone. Just one line out of the 50 lines I gave. And by the way, the ebook is not me telling you. The ebook is me showing you on the phone. I literally am on the phone talking to sellers, locking up contracts. One of them is a contract I bought for myself, and it's currently an Airbnb. So I structured it to overcome objections for you guys. It's a free ebook. And right here, Greg Clark locking up deals and off of one line he learned.
Great job, Greg.
So good.
One line.
Was the line, I just had a ham sandwich?
That one is a good one. That one is not in the ebook. That did not make the ebook, but that was a good line.
Do you know who Tom Hanks is?
That was a good line. That was probably, I've used that multiple times since then. That was a good one.
So good. Somebody wrote up there, we've got a genie, a wizard, and a superhero.
Oh, yeah. It's freaking Johnny Bravo, dude.
Yes.
I say I'm the 40-year-old Dash from Incredibles. That's me.
That's
I get
actually
that all the
really
time.
true.
You look like Dash. That and Johnny Bravo. That's the other one. Yep.
All right, I had to take a screenshot of that so I could keep that. That's a great comment.
Awesome. I love it.
So
you want to wrap us up, Jamil?
Well, guys, thank you all for tuning in today on Labor Day. You proved to yourself today that you are more committed to your business and learning than you are to a Budweiser. And that is the attitude that is going to take you to the next level, guys. Have a passion for this. Love this. Love the journey, because the entire process is fun and life will whiz by you. It'll whiz by you. I'm telling you, we've all 3 of us on here have seen the last 10 years of our lives just fly by because we're having fun. Have fun with it, guys. Get out there, take action, be the best version of yourself you could possibly ever be. Every one of us loves you. Wholesale Hotline 81. We will see you again next Monday.
Love you guys.
Later, guys. Have a good night.
Later.
See ya.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yep.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil does.